Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. We're out here today on our main island, a nice little change of scenery from our usual nether hub. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what has happened around here? Well, let me tell you, I have been a super duper busy bee. I've been trying to make this place look a little bit better, and to be very honest with you, I think it looks pretty good so far. But that's not to say that we haven't got a bunch of work ahead of us. You see, this is something I've been doing over some of my spare time. I've been trying to just place down some trees, bone meal some of the grass down, make sure things look a little bit even, and so far things are looking good. Now, there was one change I decided that I wanted to make from kind of like the part over here. So this little section you can see was when I originally started making the island up. So it consisted a lot more of the birch trees. It included some of the mushrooms, and these mushrooms are very cool. They do fit very well into my island. However, they are going to be getting some adjustments made to them very soon. And I will show you what kind of adjustments when we come over here. Now, as we fly back in, you can see I have started making some custom mushrooms. And to accompany these custom mushrooms, we have added some custom terrain around here. So the idea was that I wanted to add some mushrooms that emit a bit more lighting, and not something just as simple as the mushrooms that you see over there. Now, they are good. They're going to serve their purpose. They're going to be adding as additions to all of the ones that you see here. But the idea is to make more of these kind of mushrooms. So the first thing I decided that I wanted to do was to start throwing in some different kind of terrain into the area. So I did a little flight over to a mega taiga biome, and I got myself some lovely podzol, which I actually really like. I think podzol looks really cool, even though it's kind of like brown and greeny. It looks really good. It kind of really goes in with the grass. It really does suit the mushrooms and stuff. And actually, the main reason I decided I even wanted them was because I wanted a place to add a few mushrooms to. I didn't want to use the mycelium as much. You can see I've thrown a few bits of mycelium around here and there. But generally speaking, I didn't want to have too much mycelium. So the idea was to get way more podzol and have like the podzol be the main theme of the mushroom growths, I guess. And so yeah, so what I've done here, you can see I've gone ahead and chucked in some smaller mushrooms. I've made this custom mushroom here. I've thrown in some jungle logs here and there, some strip jungle logs. And the idea when I did this was to actually add as much variation of mushrooms as I could. Because when you have like stuff like just this mushroom growing by itself, really doesn't stand out all that well. It does look quite odd by itself. So I thought maybe the best thing to do is to add some variations of mushrooms, throw in some extra blocks in here and there. And actually that gave me a good opportunity to do a few more things, basically. So the first thing I started doing was adding some more of these guys. I forget what they're called. Okay, I just had to quickly remind myself what they were called. And yes, they are ferns. So yeah, I went ahead whilst I was in the mega taiga biome. I thought it'd be a good idea to capture some of the greenery that you don't really get locally around here. Some locally grown greenery, if you will. So I've gone ahead and captured myself some ferns. So I grabbed a bunch of ferns from the mega taiga biome. And then in addition to that, I ended up getting some berry bushes too. I thought the berry bushes work quite well because they have the red in there and they have the green. It really goes in with the theme of everything. It really fits really well into the building. And I basically copied this whole thing over as many times as I could be bothered so far. So I've gone ahead and added some variations of it. So you can see this is one of them. You can see there's another set over here. Same thing again. I've got some smaller ferns, maybe less of a growth, maybe a smaller mushroom. And then again, if you follow ourselves back up here, I am going to be making some pods to help like kind of run up this a lot easier because it's not really all that good right now. But yeah, you can see once you come over here that the same sort of things have been carried over as sort of a theme. I've got some more over here. I've got a few here. And the idea is to put these a little bit more sporadically. I want to put these a lot more spread out. And then I want to kind of add in the other mushroom growths, like these ones, the ones without too much going on. I want to add a few more of those a bit more regularly. So I want to make these a little bit less regular and make those other ones a little bit more regular. And actually a great example of this is around the back over here. So you can see I've got the normal singular mushroom growth. I've also got like the larger ones with lighting. You can see here I've done things a little bit differently. So instead of piling up some of the podzol, you can see I've kind of laid this one out a bit more flat just to go with the slightly like the lower height of this mushroom here. And that's kind of like the idea of what I've been doing around the entire island. I haven't had as much time to add in the mushroom growths into this part of the area or this part of the area. Really, the main of the growths have happened more so around this local area. And the idea is eventually to obviously spread this out as much as possible. But whilst I was doing all of that, I realized that even though I took away some of the sweetberry bushes and some of the ferns, I realized I needed something to actually farm them with. Now, I had a couple options of thinking of like big farms and smaller farms, and ultimately I just came to the idea that I'm gonna add some smaller modules into the farming area. So I've come down here into the farming area. If this is your first time seeing it, maybe go check out my farming area episode. You should get more of an idea of what's going on around here. So I am actually planning an episode 50 or an episode 30. I haven't decided yet. Kind of a world tour situation. Then maybe you guys will get a better look at it then. And actually it's probably better because you're going to get more of an idea because, you know, things have changed a little bit since the last time you've been here. So if we make our way down here, you can see I have set up a little berry bush farm, sweet berries farm, sorry. And I've also set up a fern farm. It basically functions in exactly the same way, just with a slightly few different mechanics on how things work. So if I go ahead and grab this berry bush, the idea is that you come and stand on this pressure plate. So with the sweet berries, all you do is you stand on the pressure plate, and then all you need to do is basically stand here and right click. Wait, hold on. There you go. So the idea with the sweet berry bush farm here is that you basically just come and stand here and you right click. Don't know why it's making me eat, but there you go. So you just stand here right clicking and I can get all the sweet berries that I need in the world, but I'm actually pretty good for sweet berries for now. The fern farm works very similarly, just a little bit different. If I go ahead and put the sweet berries back and grab the ferns, the fern farm doesn't work too differently from the sweet berry farm, except for the fact that you're going to need a pair of shears. So what I've gone ahead and done is added a shear dispenser. So we go ahead and grab our shears. So actually you want the fern in the left hand and you want the shears in the right hand. And you're going to aim for the corner over here. So you're still seeing that this top hitbox is selected, but I can still place the fern on the grass because it will hit the box and it'll basically end up dropping into the grass block at the bottom. And then basically what you do is you hold down right click and then you can left click periodically and you can see you get yourself a bunch of ferns. Now if you're quick enough, you can do this actually pretty fast. You can see here, you can see it will always break only when the second one's grown, so you don't need to worry about it not growing in time and you're breaking it and not making a profit. You can see that at the bottom left that I'm actually running a little bit in negative, but that's because most of them are kind of just piling up on the back over there. If I go and pick those up, you can see that I am now at a stack here and 26, and it's a really straightforward farm. It's really just enough for me to grab a few when I need them, and actually it works out pretty well for what I need it for. So actually this is a really straightforward farm, and if I'm done using my shears and I don't need them anymore, I'll go ahead and pop that back into the system. Burn mill was placed nicely into this system, and again I don't need to turn it on or off. I can just come up, use it, and head back whenever I'm done. I'm sure this works pretty well for another kind of like sapling or something like that. I'm sure there's other plants that this could work well with, but I haven't figured it out yet or needed it yet, so we're just basically considering it a fern and sweet berry farm. And actually that's pretty much the most of this situation here. So this was the extra module I added onto the farming area. But whilst I was out and about and I was actually building the bamboo farm, which you saw a few episodes ago, I also started gathering a couple cocoa beans. Now, obviously, I was in the jungle biome anyway, so I decided to grab a couple of them. And I also decided I'm going to need a farm just to grab a few of these. Now, with things like this, there's not really too much effort, or there's not really too much point in kind of over engineering farms for these kind of things, because realistically speaking, as much as I love to go overboard with farms, things like these are things I need in such rare quantities, and you get so many in such a short space of time of just like a quick session over here. You don't really tend to need too many of them. So I decided let's create a quick cocoa bean farm, and the idea behind it really is just a double dispenser system that shoots out into the cocoa beans and then turns it into the larger variant, in which case it's broken by the piston. And in fact, I can give you a quick example, and you can see from my little barrel over here, I've definitely gotten more cocoa beans than I'm actually going to use. In fact, I've also just converted it into the only use for cocoa beans, which is brown dye. So I've gone ahead and converted it into brown dye already. I probably have more brown dye here than I'm probably ever going to need, I think. So the majority of this farm's purpose has kind of been fulfilled. And then we've got a switch here, which has 2 dispensers and then some bone meal being fed on into each side. So the idea here is that you need to stand in a very specific spot, because it doesn't really work that well if you don't do it properly. But here we go. You can see you basically just stand here and you're going to start seeing it hopefully work well. What's going on here? There we go. And in a second, hopefully, you should start seeing it working well. Right, it's not working well right now. This is kind of the issue with it. You have to find the very specific spot you want to put it in, and I think there it is. It's right there. And you can see in... All right, we're going to do this for about 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to stop using that now. I'm going to turn it off. And in that time, I basically end up getting more or less 2 stacks of cocoa beans, which is plenty of cocoa beans. And in fact, so much so I'm just going to go ahead and throw these out and let them despawn along with that, and that. So yeah, this is just another module that I decided to add on to the farming area. We now basically have a bunch of bone meal based farms down here. They're all basically nano-ish farms. So we've got the cocoa bean farm, we've got the fan and sweetberry farm, and we've also got like the nano crop farm here for wheat and carrots and stuff like that. This is actually going to come in really handy because we're planning on making a absolutely gigantic and totally unnecessary villager breeder, which is actually going to come in handy for our new trading hall that we'll be working on in a few episodes from now. But that's just something I thought I'd show you a little addition to that I added to the farming area. I think it really helps out throwing these little farms in there. Unfortunately, as you saw from the space inside, I'm kind of running out now, so I'm hoping if there's other farms that I want to make, they kind of fit in line with those bone meal farms, so I can kind of repurpose them as and when I've needed. But as of right now, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you in the overworld. The next trip we're going to take is to a place that we've been spending quite a bit of time in, and that's actually going to be the Nether. So the first sign of the Nether hub, you can see I have taken role as professional builder. When you have all of these scaffoldings around your base or around your build, you know that you are officially a professional builder. But the reason for all of these scaffoldings is because I have gone ahead and placed a lot of black concrete. The reason for all of this black concrete was because, well, here was the idea. If you've been keeping up to date with the series, the idea of the Nether hub, or this Nether room at least, is to gather all of the biomes of our new Nether. Hey dude, what are you doing here? Can you go away? I'm trying to make a video here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, so the idea of this whole Nether room was to bring the biomes of the new Nether into one location. Because I'm going to be using the roof of the Nether to do all my traveling, it didn't really make sense to make tunnels throughout the Nether. So I thought, hey, let's bring the world of the new Nether into our general location. And most of that has been done. You can see I've got a kind of a bastion thing going on here. Yeah, again, if you've been watching, that is my pigling trading hall. And yeah, so we've got some of the warped nylium forest and the crimson forest. We've got the soul sand valley over there. The idea is that eventually we're going to add the basalt deltas in the middle, and I really wanted to make things pop out. When all of the back of it was kind of covered with netherrack, everything kind of blended into each other and it didn't really look all that good. So I decided let's go ahead and make all of the walls black, so it kind of gives like this void effect where the biomes are here and then behind them exists nothing. And I think actually it's turned out it's looking pretty good, even on the roof of it, like minus the hole, which I'll get into in a second. I think the whole roof kind of looks really nice. Everything's looking really good. And so that was the main objective of the Nether hub. That's kind of been done. This was like a 2-day project to cover this whole thing in black concrete, with the gathering of the black concrete, the placing of it, getting used to using scaffolding again. I haven't used scaffolding in so long, and you can probably tell by the disgusting placement of all the scaffolding. But yeah, this has all worked out really well. We have actually covered the entire thing in black concrete. There's still loads of work to actually do on the actual the Nether hub itself, but we're gonna come back to that a little bit later on today, or maybe in the next episode. The next thing I wanted to show you was the hole in the bedrock roof. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the time lapse of me making the hole on the screen right now whilst I talk. So you can see from here I actually end up extending a lot of the hole to quite a larger space. This was for 2 reasons. So number one, this was originally the idea to make the hole about this big anyway. You can see from the outline of the obsidian that was the general idea, was to make it as big as that. And so yeah, I've done the creating of the hole a little bit bigger. And one of the other things we're going to do is make a minecart elevator that hopefully brings us to the top of here. So if I ever lose like my elytra or something a little bit further away and I can't fly up here for any reason or another, we're going to have a minecart elevator. This is more of a thought as of right now because it may or may not fit into the theme of the basalt deltas. I think I've got an idea to make it work and look good, but we're gonna have to kind of think about that and do a little bit of playing before we decide on anything. So this was kind of the quick update on things that have been going around in the nether. Oops, hold on, let me get in. Ah, there you go. This was just a quick update just to show you guys where we've been at, and I think everything is looking way better than I originally expected it to. I've also captured some baby magmas, which I've named. You can't really see because they're in glass and stuff. But I've named them, so they're going to be added into the basalt delta as well, just to add some environment. And we're actually going to go ahead and add a few more mobs into the nether hub, like some permanent ones, not these disgusting zombie piglins who keep messing everything up and making things look gross. We're going to add a lot more mobs in here. We're going to add some more decorations. Things. It's actually going to be a lot more practical as well because it is supposed to kind of be a nether hub. So I'm hoping I can add some practicality to it. We're also going to be branching off to make some farms around here. It's going to be a absolute hoot, but this is going to be more of a long-term project, just like it kind of has been right now, to be honest. I started this nether hub project quite a few episodes ago and I'm still nowhere near done. But we are making some very significant progress as of right now. So we find ourselves back at the Wither Skeleton farm once again, and honestly this is probably going to be one of those places that we end up visiting a lot of times during the series, mostly for the for the resources, but also because I like coming here and looking at it because I think it looks cool. The reason why we're back here today is because I done some mob spawn proofing in the area, and I went ahead and did a little live stream of just showing some of the stuff that I done. Now we can have a quick look around here just to show what we've done. So you can see that well, things are looking a little bit messy. Some things are looking lava-ish. There's some parts here where we've got some slabs going on. And the idea is that basically all the parts that you see covered in slabs and lava are essentially all of our spawning places that were available. And luckily I have gone ahead and spawn proofed basically the entire thing. So now when I stand in my AFK spot, there should be no issues with mob caps being taken up by anything but the wither skeletons. So at the moment this thing is running hopefully basically in full capacity. So that brings us back to the wither skeleton farm again, and I have been AFK overnight, so I thought it'd be interesting for us to both have a little look at what exactly we have ended up with after our little session. Let's start off with the most important part first of all, because these I have plenty of anyway. So let's check shulker box 1. Lovely, nice and full. And shulker box 2. Okay, not bad. Not as much as I was hoping for, but still a good amount of with the skeleton skulls. There's still probably some in the hoppers behind here as well, so we can go ahead and empty that out and add this to the list. That we should have around 1.5-ish shulker boxes of with the skeleton skulls, which is great. So now that actually means that I can go ahead and run my wither killer at full capacity without any issues, and I can actually go ahead and gather as many nether stars as I probably am going to need for at least this part of the series for now. So that's going to be very good. So with the skeleton skulls looking great. But let's have a little look at coal. Oh, this is a lot of coal, which is good. I'm going to be needing this eventually, but I've got a huge stockpile already. But if I've got that much coal, that means... oh god, oh no, that's too many bones. Now I know you're thinking, why are you complaining about having so many bones? Well, if you paid attention to the last episode, then you'll realize that I have a huge stockpile of bones, and now this will be added to that stockpile. And actually I am probably going to need to start thinking of some use of these. I've got some farms that I can probably use it on. I need a huge stockpile of carrots soon, so maybe that'll be good. But yeah, number one, I'm gonna have to do that, but also one of the biggest issues with all of these is now I'm gonna have to craft all of these bones into bone meal and then back into bone blocks to compress them. So this is gonna take a long time to do. All right, I guess it's time to start crafting. Let's go ahead and grab all the stuff. I could just leave it all in here, but then I'm gonna go AFK here one day and forget about it, and we're not feeling that. I've got the energy right now. Let's go ahead and craft all these down to blocks, and let's compact them, put them in the storage system, and then that way we know what, we've got everything nicely ready to go. And Jimmy over here, he seems to be looking at me quite weirdly. I don't really want to look at him in the eye right now, but yeah, let's go ahead and compress all this down, and then let's see how much we actually end up getting from blocks out of these guys. Okay, so in go the first batch of bones. Oh god, this is gonna be such a headache. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of them. I don't even know if I can fit all of them into the system. And also, I'm very glad that I ended up building that shulker box crafting system thing over there, because honestly, it's wait, hold on a second. Hold on just a goddamn second. How did that end up getting in here? You, sir, are in the wrong spot. I hope there's not more of them. It doesn't really even make sense how that happened. Very strange. Okay, here's hoping that was all of the ones I got mixed. Luckily, it seems like there's not really an issue with the system itself. It seems like the boxes are just being popped into a different section, which is okay. It's not that much of an issue. But oh crap, I'm already out of space here. Okay, looks like we are all right. Luckily for myself, I have a little crafting tweak thing here, which means that I can actually grab these out, and then hopefully I can just press Control C, and that should shoot all the bone meal out on the floor. And then basically I can just keep doing that, and then once I've collected enough bone meal, I can pop it back into blocks and then go ahead and throw it into the side. In fact, I'm probably just going to go ahead and put it straight into storage on the left over there. So let's see how this goes. Now that we've gone ahead and crafted up all the bone blocks, I am absolutely shook to my core, because I have so many freaking bone blocks at this point. I don't think I'm ever going to have a use for them anymore. And I'm hoping that I'm kind of done with using this with a skeleton farm, because I hate being wasteful. I hate throwing them away. I hate burning stuff, and you know, so we're hoping that I don't need to use it anymore, because I don't think I have any storage for this. All of these double chests are absolutely full to the brim, so much so that I've had to end up keeping some of the bone blocks in here. And just did a little bit of calculations, and if my calculations are correct, I think we're looking close to somewhere in and around 55 to 60,000 bone blocks. Do you understand how many bone blocks that is? Do you understand how much bone meal that is? Do you understand how crazy that is? Also, guys, Merry Christmas. Well, you're probably going to be seeing this at some point in January, but you can see from the chest behind me. Merry Christmas. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But hey, that's good for us, because in the future, when we need a bunch of blocks that we want to have looking fancy, because bone blocks do look quite nice, and they also sound quite nice when you walk on them. So we are fully stocked up with bone blocks. How do we look when it comes to coal? And let me tell you, my friends, we are definitely in no shortage of coal. We've got all of those double chests, and we've got 3 shulker boxes worth here as well. So I think we're going to be just fine for coal and our super smelter when it's up and running and ready. I don't think we're going to probably need more than that. Actually, there should be a good amount to get the super smelter ready to go, because we actually need a lot of it to be filling up the system, and you know, so a lot of the pieces end up going towards that. But I don't think we're going to be having any problems with anything like that anymore. And also, now that I'm beacon rich, I've obviously started to flex a little bit here and there. Unfortunately, the flexing doesn't work as well, because I don't know you really even know if I actually like how these look here. But I just saw an opportunity, and here we are. We're now beaconing it up, and I think it's only right? We should have some beacons around here just to signify the ballerness of this farm here anyway. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am going to wrap this up right here. I know that this episode's a little bit different to the usual ones. We haven't really actually done anything through the episodes. We've mostly just been showing you some of the previous progress. I thought it was quite important for you guys to get caught up on some of the work that we've been doing around here, and it just seemed a little bit more important to deal with that first before we dealt too much with the other projects, because there is a lot more to come, so don't worry too much. We'll be doing a lot more later on in the series, or in the next episode even. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please make sure you hit the like and make sure you subscribe if you made it this far. Leave a funny sound in the comment section down below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.